that relate to our interpretation. We'd like to ask for folks to speak in a normal conversational tone. Try not to be speed talkers tonight, because that helps. And also, if you could, if you are beginning to speak, if you can say like, "This is Gretchen," before starting to our interpretation, in order to help orient the interpreters, that can be helpful. But Kelsey, we're ready to go.
Great. This is Kelsey. Thanks for the reminder about speed talking, because that's what I do. Well, welcome everyone on this beautiful June day. Happy Pride Month. So we are the Human Rights Commission. We will start with welcome and introductions. So how this works is we'll do popcorn. So I can start. I'll introduce myself, share your pronouns if you would like to, your role, and if you know the ward that you live in, and then select someone else. So my name is Kelsey Murray. I use she, her pronouns. I am the vice chair of the commission, and I live in Ward 4, and I'm going to popcorn to Jackie.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jackie Leung, one of the newer commissioners on Ward 4, she, they pronouns, and looking forward to resuming duties on the Human Rights Commission. I'll send it over to, let's see, got to turn on everybody's names. David.
Hi, my name is David Reinhold. I'm a commissioner. I'm a resident of Polk County, and my pronouns are he and him, and I'll pass it on to Kathy.
Hi, everybody. Kathy Ostran-Ponchen. I'm a member of the Human Rights Commission. I live in South Salem. My pronouns are she, her, and I will pass it over to Lisa.
Thanks, Kathy. Hi, everyone. My name is Lisa Novak. I use she, her pronouns. I live in Ward 3. I'm a grant writer for the YMCA, so feel free to let me know if anyone has a need. And really, I'm a member of the commission, really happy to be here. And I will pass to Krista.
Hello, my name is Krista. I use she, her pronouns, and I live in Ward 4, and I'm going to pass it to Hope.
Hi, my name is Hope Strayer. My pronouns are she, her. I live in Ward 4, and I am a member of the commission. I am going to pass it to Marianne.
Thanks, Hope. I'm Marianne Bradshaw. I'm so happy to be here this evening. And I'm looking at all the students who are on and commission members. Happy to see you all. I am a professor at Western Oregon. I've been working this semester with a great class of students, and so happy to have this partnership with the Human Rights Commission and be able to join you this evening. My pronouns are she, her, and I had to look it up, but I live in Ward 4. And I'm going to pass it off to one of the students. Tim, can we start with you?
Hi, nice to meet everybody. My name is Tim Machado. I use pronouns he, him. I'm a student at Western Oregon University. And I guess I'll pass it along now and to, let's see who hasn't been chosen yet. I'll pass it to another student, Kamahoy.
Hi, my name is Kamahoy. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm a student at Western Oregon. And I'll pass it on to Casey.
Hi, everybody. My name is Casey Stevens. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a student at Western Oregon University, finishing up my program, and I'm happy to be here. And I will pass it on to Alexis.
Hi, my name is Alexis Cackley. I am a student at Western Oregon University, and I have no idea what ward I live in. And I will pass it off to Linnell.
Hi, my name is Linnell and I use she, her pronouns. I live in Ward 1. I'm the program manager of Safe Sleep United Women's Shelter, but I also really value partnering with you guys and doing work in the community that can try to help make some systems change and bring more equity, justice, and fairness to everybody. So I've been honored to be able to work with you all and so grateful for the work you do. And I haven't been here. I joined a tiny bit late, so I don't know who's left.
I think Joaquin.
Thank you.
Hi, can everyone hear me all right?
Yes.
I'm afraid that I would normally be calling in from my home, but I had to make an emergency trip out of town. So I'm calling in, but I'm here in person and it's good to see everybody. Looking forward to the professor's presentation and that of the students. My name is Joaquin. I'm a member of the commission and a resident of Ward 8. And you know what? I think Greg has not gone. So Commissioner, would you care to go?
Thank you. My name is Greg Asher. I reside in Ward 7. And my work, I work for ODHS. So Human Services, my role is as a tribal recruiter. So I work with the Native American tribes. And of course, I have interest in all things human rights, but certainly can bring some expertise around tribal interactions to bear. So thank you very much. And I don't know who, I was a little late too. So if someone can kind of cue in that hasn't introduced themselves, please do now.
It might be me. I'm Gretchen Bennett. I'm staff to the Human Rights Commission and use she, her pronouns. Oh, and Matt.
I was going to say,
Lieutenant
yeah,
Gill.
Lieutenant McGill.
Lieutenant Gill.
Sorry, I'm playing dad duty right now. So
Oh.
Matthew Gill, I'm a lieutenant with the Salem Police Department. It's nice to meet you all.
Thank you.
Fantastic. We have a full house today. I love it. Oh, this is Kelsey. We will now move into public comment. Gretchen, did we receive any public comments?
Forgive me. I believe that we did attach to the meeting material. You have one in writing attached to your meeting material this evening.
Is that the letter?
Yes.
Okay,
I'm
perfect.
not aware of anyone here tonight. There may be others here who want to speak, but we did receive a letter. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Wasn't sure if that was for public comment or issues of discrimination. So that's perfect. For those who receive material for the meetings, you received a letter titled Letter to State and City Leaders. I can summarize it really quick. So this resident is blind and is a guide dog handler. And he was saying that he's been having issues navigating the sidewalks, especially downtown in the city of Salem, due to, let's see, trash, food, drug paraphernalia, shopping carts, and people who are camping. And it was addressed that all campsites shall maintain a minimum of 36-inch pedestrian path within a public sidewalk. So there is concern about accessibility, along with people who are houseless camping on the sidewalks. So yeah. Questions or concerns, or Gretchen, do you have anything?
No, happy to answer questions if anybody would have any, but nothing additional to add. I have had the opportunity to trade some emails with this individual and to make sure that they're able to let me know as they discover locations that are challenging. And we try to keep an eye out on a proactive basis as well.
Is it appropriate for me to say something? This is Linnell, sorry.
This is Kelsey. I think so.
Okay, I just want to say I can't speak for all homeless advocates, but I can say that for myself and many of the individuals that I know who do homeless advocacy, as much as we worry that there's no place for people to go, it's always been with the understanding and full support that sidewalks need to be passable for everybody. And I fully support that being enforced. Because as much as we still need places for people to be able to go, sidewalks are for everybody and everybody needs to be able to use them. So just as a perspective, as one homeless advocate, we really, in general, the ones that I know fully support that so that the coexistence can happen. But we can't have sidewalks that are not usable for all of the public. And I still think people should be able to sit and lie as needed, but they have to be passable. So that's my perspective. And I know many advocates are on that same perspective.
Greg?
Yes, thank you very much. And I appreciate those comments. One concern I have is the legal aspect to that, of course, is the ADA Title 1 and 2, actually. But the important thing is that, and the letter, I empathize with that individual. I'd like to know if the city has discussed this, or are there any plans in place? What are the reactions to a comment from a citizen that has a concern? Could you answer? Is there somebody here that, I guess it's Gretchen? I don't want to put you on the spot, but it's just a curiosity with me about what response is in place and how that might comply with the legalities of ADA and so forth. That's it.
Yeah, no, of course, Greg, I'm happy to respond to that. I think in general, of course, as people write in and share communications, the response will vary by the topic and to whom they write into. So I'm not sure exactly how to speak to that, but to the specific situation, I know I wrote back and spoke about the ordinance change that we have in place and the objective that we have within the limited resources to try to achieve that accessibility, with recognition that we can't always be at all places at all times and there's going to be weaknesses in it. There was also a suggestion of expanding beyond the 36 inches to a broader space, because a white cane is going to need a broader space than 36 inches to really navigate. And we really want the sidewalks to be passable for everybody, but also are balancing the both the legal and the human needs of people experiencing homelessness as well, to have places to be. So we've been in a dialogue about, yeah, absolutely, we want to meet those accessibility objectives and balance the other needs too, and opened up a here's how to report when you have a location that's of concern discussion. But it's a 60-inch, it would depend on the sidewalk. If there'd be space for 60 inches and camping, I think it would depend on the sidewalk. In some cases, it would prohibit camping, and in other cases, I think there would still be space depending on the size of the sidewalk. So I'm not sure if I'm responding to your question, Greg.
Yeah, that I think, it summarizes, I think that the measures that are in place, if they're policy or however you're administering that, and each of the parties, have protections that we provide and the city provides. So I like that part of it. Has there been a dialogue though, when I know homeless camps get moved, those that are unsheltered, that there is there a discussion between just that cooperation it might take because I'm sure those people that do have to camp on the street wouldn't want to be impairing somebody with a disability. So it's almost one of those ministry kind of or diplomatic kinds of approaches where I think there's a level of cooperation that could be achieved. I don't know who does that. I'm not going to put it on the city police, but at any rate, that I think that's kind of the direction is have some build some type of understanding of what the interests are on both sides. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely.
This is Kelsey. Any other questions or comments?
May I have a brief comment? This is Joaquin.
Of course.
Is that permissible?
Yeah, of course.
This is kind of a little sky high, but my comment is as follows. As somebody who's worked in disability justice spaces and often works on behalf of our community, and as someone who's a wheelchair user, I'll say that while I agree with and empathize with the meat and potatoes, as it were, of the complaint, I did have some caution around the language used at the end of the letter, which seemed to suggest that the disability community was different and apart and in an antagonistic relationship to the unhoused community. Our data and our understanding of who our neighbors are who are unhoused shows that an overwhelming number of them are disabled. And I just, not that this is coming at a different point in some ways, but I just really wanted to emphasize that disability justice and disability liberation involves the unhoused community, and we can have both conversations at the same time, but that to suggest that this is not a larger issue, I think is worth highlighting, if not naming directly. But I just wanted to use that time to say that, and that's it.
This is Kelsey. Thank you, Joaquin. I really appreciate you saying that, and especially with your perspective. I'm wondering, Gretchen, you said that you had emailed with this person. Did they feel like they had a follow-up or solution that they felt comfortable with, or that you all discussed?
You know, I don't think I could say that with confidence. I think what I'm hearing in the communication would be a desire to see the rule change to 60 inches instead of 36 inches. And a more, well, I guess I would understand that part is what the person would be aiming for at all times, but I really would hate to speak for the individual.
Of course.
Yeah, I can reach it back out and ask the question.
Okay. Yeah, I would be interested to see kind of what they're wanting to resolve this, because it's a part of a bigger issue, and we'll talk later about this, is how we advocate and support people who are experiencing homelessness, and which is a big problem, if you will, in Salem. So that kind of leads us into our Western conversation in the future. Any other questions or comments about this email? Okay, seeing none, we'll move into the consent calendar. Oh, sorry, I should ask, are there any other public comments? Okay, seeing none, consent calendar. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
All right, Joaquin has moved. Lisa, I'm assuming you're seconding?
I'll second.
Perfect. Lisa has seconded. Is there any dissent? Okay. Seeing none, we'll move into the approval of the last meeting's minutes. Is there a motion?
This is Kathy. I'll make that motion.
Kathy has moved to approve the minutes. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. Lisa, the queen of seconding, has seconded the motion. Great. Is there any dissent? Okay. Seeing none, we will now move into the action and discussion items, starting with the bias crime update, and I will turn it over to Lieutenant Gill.
Hi all, Matthew Gill, Salem Police Department. And again, I apologize, I'm a little distracted, but luckily there's only 2 incidents to report tonight. So both of them were just routed via potential bias crime incidents. So throughout the last month or since the last time we met, we have not had any bias crimes arrests. The 2 incidents, one of which was from a Southeast Salem home where 2 pride flags were stolen off of a front porch. And then another in which a disturbance occurred. And throughout that disturbance, there was comments made in both directions, one of which was reported as being anti-Black in nature. So there was no arrests made for the bias piece, nor an initial crime. It was, again, just a disturbance. And if I didn't mention, that was in the West Salem area. So I don't have I do have the case numbers, and just wanted to always reiterate that especially in the months where these reports are heavy, feel free to email me, and Gretchen has that contact information, and I can always follow up and provide updates on past cases that we've updated on. Any questions or anything else from anybody?
Okay, this is Kelsey. Thank you, Lieutenant Gill. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
We will now move into complaints / concerns of discrimination. Gretchen, did you receive anything?
Thank you. I had one. I met with people who were former and current employees of an organization and who reported concerns around discrimination, bias, hostile work experience related both to areas of race and areas of sexual orientation and gender identity. In this case, there's also been formal BOLI processes filed. And so at this time, there's not specific action to take, but we're staying in touch and being aware of monitoring those cases moving forward. But nothing else, no additional reports this time.
This is Kelsey. Thank you for that information, Gretchen, and thank you for meeting with them. Let us know in the future if there's anything that we can do or if they would like to come to a meeting. Anyone in this space have any complaints or concerns of discrimination? All right. Seeing none, I'm going to turn it over to Mary Ann and the students at Western to talk about the belonging survey. There's also an attachment to the meeting materials if you all would like to follow along.
And I might, Mary Ann, you might mention, I apologize. I also just emailed the commission the executive summary document. So that's a new document as well. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, thank you so much. And I do think Tim or Kamahoy, I think Tim was going to share his screen. So if he can have co-host rights. And the document that was attached with the original meeting materials, Linnell graciously typed up some of the comments from people she had supported in doing the survey. So that's what came out to you last week. And what Gretchen just sent right now is an executive summary, and that will be more helpful to you as if you're like a visual, I'm going to look at this document while I hear them talking, and they've also got slides. That just went out, executive summary will be a good reference for you. So I will turn it over to the students.
Hi, this is Tim. I'm so sorry, Marianne, but I can't show my screen because I don't have the updated PowerPoint on my computer that you just sent to us.
I can share my screen.
Okay, that would be very helpful. Thank you.
Awesome. Let me pull that up. All right, hopefully you can see my screen that says Community Belonging Survey here.
Yes, we can.
All right. Tim, go ahead.
Okay, great. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having us today. First off, I'd like to introduce myself and my fellow students, Alejandra, Alexis, Casey, Kamahoy, and myself, Tim. We also have our instructor, Professor Marianne Bradshaw. The research objectives for our surveys are to measure as follows: perceptions of Salem as a welcoming community, experiences, types, frequency, and location of firsthand and secondhand discrimination, perception of discrimination levels in Salem, awareness of the HRC, comfort level for reporting a biased crime to the Salem Police Department, and experiences and perceptions among people who are experiencing homelessness. There were a total of 574 respondents for analysis. The majority of the surveys were done so online, which had branching questions based on the answers that were chosen. 40% were taken through City of Salem avenues, such as their Facebook page. 26% were through organizations that our class reached out to, and 11% were through friends or family. There was also a hard copy version that did not have the branching questions, which made up 18% of the surveys. There were 26 questions in total, and the survey was conducted between May 5th and May 16th. The survey was available in English and Spanish with attempts to be translated to Chucanese and Marshallese, but the translation did not go through properly, so we were unable to accomplish that. The primary population we were trying to gather data from were people experiencing homelessness or PEH. This was an overquota, meaning that we were intentionally seeking out these specific individuals, and although 17% of our respondents are people experiencing homelessness, this does not reflect that 17% of Salem's population are experiencing homelessness, just simply that 17% of those in our survey's data set were those who are experiencing homelessness. Also, this is a group of our class who are able to go out and conduct surveys in person.
I'll just chime in. Of course, the survey went out generally online, and we were welcoming any respondents from any walk of life in Salem to complete the survey. We did deliberately invite people experiencing homelessness, but as Tim emphasized, we're not just going to aggregate that data and show totals because the people experiencing homelessness are overrepresented in the data set. So as they walk through the analysis, you'll hear them talk about PEH for people experiencing homelessness and housed, where we're looking at those two groups separately instead of just mushing them together in a way that doesn't represent your Salem population. So that's why the data split the way it is.
Thank you. The general perception of those who are housed is that Salem is a welcoming community for them and for others not like them. The perception of those who are experiencing houselessness, however, is the complete opposite and do not believe Salem is a welcoming community for them or for others like them. The level of discrimination was rated average, leaning to good, small amount of discrimination, and a general bell curve for those who are housed. But people experiencing homelessness rated Salem on the lower spectrum as mostly below average and poor, quite a lot of discrimination. This is our first of 3 of our rainbow charts, so I will do a quick explanation of what these portray. These break down the answers given based on differing demographics: red for age, orange for gender identity, yellow for ethnicity or race, green for whether or not they are members of the LGBTQIA+ community, blue for disability status, indigo for veteran status, and purple for differing experiences of houselessness, i.e., never experienced, previously experienced, or currently experiencing houselessness. Answers were given a numerical value range from 5, excellent, to 1, failing, and then averages were calculated to produce the bars on the rainbow charts, and then arranged from highest to lowest, excluding the age demographic group. If you focus down on the last purple bars, you will see an average rating for levels of discrimination in Salem for those currently housed at a 3.11 or average, and those currently experiencing houselessness ratings Salem at 2.23 poor. Of note, the subgroups with the lowest rating are people experiencing homelessness, women, genderqueer, non-binary, trans women, biracial or multiracial, and people with a disability.
Does anybody have a question on that slide? Tim, you did an awesome job explaining it, but you kind of look at it and you're like, "Whoa, there's a lot there." All right.
All right. Here are a few examples of positive rating quotes that were pulled from sections of the survey that allow participants to fill out an answer. Salem is much better than the city I moved from in the Midwest. I don't think that Salem is perfect, but I also feel that the city leaders are trying the best they can to make the city better. My sense is that most people here are welcoming and inclusive, but we still have a long ways to go. I have not felt discrimination directed towards myself. And of course, here are a few negative rating examples. The discrimination I see is mainly regarding people experiencing houselessness. People make assumptions about them without really understanding the situation they are in. There is a strong racist and white supremacist core in Salem that is especially evident in efforts to erase the identity of students of color and LGBTQ+ kids in public schools. Book banning, removing history of racism, and demonizing trans kids is evident. I see discrimination all the time. People are mean, and I don't care who they lash out at. More than half of respondents have heard about or witnessed discrimination in Salem in the past 12 months. Those who said yes were asked how frequently and what types of discrimination they heard about or witnessed. For housed individuals, the top 3 types of discrimination witnessed are due to race, color, national origin, housing status, and language spoken, gender identity, and sexual orientation. Nearly all people experiencing houselessness have heard about or witnessed discrimination. The top 3 types are housing status, race, color, national origin, and mental disability. About 1 in 3 of housed respondents have personally experienced discrimination in Salem in the past 12 months. But among PEH, almost all respondents have personally experienced discrimination in Salem. Again, those who indicated yes were asked how frequently and what types of discrimination they have experienced. Housed respondents' top answer remained the same between witnessed in the previous slide and personally experienced, but the other 2 most common types of discrimination they experienced changed to weight or body type and gender. The majority of people experiencing houselessness have not only personally experienced discrimination, but also experience it either weekly or daily. The top 3 types of discrimination they experience are the same top 3 that they have witnessed expressed in the previous slide: housing status, race, color, national origin, and mental disability. This slide represents the specific locations that participants expressed where they most commonly experienced and witnessed discrimination in Salem. They personally experienced discrimination at places of business such as banks, restaurants, and shops, public outdoor spaces like parks and streets, and in healthcare settings such as the doctor's office, hospital, and pharmacy. Places where respondents have witnessed discrimination are the same top 3, but in differing frequencies. Now I pass the presentation along to Kamahoy.
Hi, my name is Kamahoy, and on this side, it's about the comfort level for reporting a bias crime to the Salem Police Department. And as you can see, our 2 notable points is that for housed individuals, 52% of individuals feel comfortable, while people experiencing houselessness, or 69%, feel uncomfortable. And basically, the majority of house respondents are comfortable reporting a bias crime, while people experiencing homeless aren't. And we can go on to the next slide. And for this side, this rainbow table compares the comfort level of reporting a bias crime among subgroups. Across all subgroups, those with the lower scores for comfort are gender identities, intersex, trans man, genderqueer, non-binary, trans women, and questioning LGBTQ plus community. These subgroups stand out as more likely to be comfortable and more likely to be uncomfortable in reporting a bias crime to Salem Police Department. There is an opportunity for the Salem Police Department to increase positive interactions with these subgroups that feel uncomfortable in reporting a bias crime. And there's also an opportunity for the HRC to increase their visibility among these populations so that individuals who are uncomfortable going to the Salem Police Department have another place in our community where they can turn to. And these are some of the example quotes. First one, we'll start with the comfortable. I have a limited interaction with the Salem Police and Marion County Sheriff. I found them to be professional, willing to listen and explain things, and interested in the local community. I have attended neighborhood meetings where sheriffs attend. I am white, I'm a middle class. I know that based on privilege this affords me, I will be comfortable reporting any crime. And a crime is a crime. That's what the police are there for. And these are the positive examples. Now time for the uncomfortable ones. The Salem Police Department is a big part of the problem and is discriminatory and dismissive of issues pertaining to those in marginalized groups. They commit violence against BIPOC individuals in Salem and do not help me feel safe or protected. I will not trust the Salem Police to take it seriously or follow up. In addition, I would be concerned about being doubted or further victimized. I feel like I will be deported or that somehow I will end up with a charge against me. Now on this slide, really talks about the awareness of the HRC. And as you can see, we compared the previous years from each other from 2020 to 2023. And in our 2023 awareness, housed individuals were 60% aware of the HRC, while the people experiencing homelessness, only 50% were aware of the HRC. And those currently experiencing homelessness have the lowest of any demographic by the largest margin at 50%. The next lowest being 37% are those with disability, and at 39%, the Latino/A/E community. For recommendations for the future surveys, to make the survey available in languages in addition to English and Spanish. So for this one, we would recommend recommendation around translation. Our Spanish translation was awesome, but the Chuukese was not as usable and the Marshallese was too late. For this, we recommend that we need to start early on translations and find a better agency to do Chuukese, as it was notable that we had a lot of issues with it and it was essentially unusable and people were having tough times. And for second recommendation, we have add service provider / nonprofit agency as an answer option to place in situations question. It is recommended that nonprofits added as well responses to questions or of a place or situation that discrimination happens in the future surveys. Of the 23 people who selected the open response to this question, 9 people typed in responses such as nonprofits and service providers as specific services in which they experience discrimination, and also develop a distribution plan for priority populations besides PEH individuals. We suggest that the HRC could possibly work with the Salem Reporter to write an article, print a published article, and have them available in areas such as Archie, Safe Sleep, and other community service organizations for a wide variety of people. Another idea would be to create a one-page infographic of a survey report to distribute online and also in print to give to multiple populations, not only just people of PEH individuals. And then for the community findings, we just want you guys to recommend that you share the findings from this survey, as a lot of people are interested in learning about the results that happen, and then they care about their input and seeing if it's being valued and being put to good use, and developing an action plan to increase awareness of the HRC amongst people experiencing houselessness. It is recommended that HRC find ways to inform those who might have access to computers or internet for the purpose within the community. They should find ways to engage those who are unaware of their presence and importance for those who are experiencing discrimination. Some ways could be fundraising events, organizational events, making informal appointments. The next one, it is develop an action plan to increase the awareness. Oh, sorry, which is that one. So work with local healthcare partners to discourage discrimination in healthcare settings. Healthcare settings was selected by 30%, third highest of respondents for personally experienced discrimination in Salem as a place where they experience it. Discrimination. It was notably high among those who experienced discrimination on a basis of mental disability, 55%, housing status, sexual orientation, and gender identity. Training and conversations in conjunction with current changes to Oregon's healthcare systems to better support patients experiencing homelessness upon discharge may be an opportunity to decrease discrimination in the healthcare system on the bias of housing status. And the HRC can also reach out to local healthcare partners to make them more aware of these research findings and offer training or support. And for the Salem Police Department, recommend they obviously improve their relationships and community trust. Based on the average responses towards comfortability, reporting bias crimes to the Salem Police Department being so low, it is recommended that they consider strategies to obviously improve this relationship with citizens at large. The perception of local law enforcement can play a big role in how levels of discrimination are affected. And thank you. Any questions?
Kathy?
Thank you. I have a question / comment. First of all, thank you for your work on the survey, and thank you for the presentation. That was great. And for the students, I guess I'm curious, did anything about the survey or the results surprise you? Like, did you maybe have a certain assumption going in, and did anything surprise you on the back end when you were analyzing the responses?
Tim, go ahead.
Thank you, Tim Machado. I would say the one thing that surprised me the most from the survey was the level of comfort in reporting bias crime to the police. I expected there to be certain demographics that felt more comfortable than others, but there was a general consensus that most people were below average. They didn't feel comfortable reporting biased crimes. And I found that to be interesting.
Casey?
Thank you. I definitely was surprised at the level of people that were experiencing houselessness that were unaware of the HRC. It's unfortunate to see, because you guys are there to be such an advocate for people who are experiencing discrimination. So I was a little bit surprised
at the responses that we got for that.
This is Kelsey. That was also, I was surprised about that too. And I think it was really helpful with that population breakdown, because I think that gives us a really good idea on more outreach that we can do to the community. Marianne.
Thank you. I know I'm not a student, but I'm going to chime in on the question about something that surprised me. We added this year the question about places and situations where you've heard about discrimination occurring and where you've personally experienced discrimination occurring. And it was really fascinating. I mean, to get that data, and Alexis was actually the student who had the job on our class team to slice and dice that and look at it and compare it. And Joaquin, you're going to love the data. Like, you're just going to spend a whole day looking at all that output. But one of the pieces there, and it's probably naive that it surprised me. I don't think I was surprised that people reported discrimination in public places. We've heard some of those accounts in past years, or at businesses, at the grocery or a restaurant. I was surprised, and you heard it in a recommendation, the experiences of discrimination in a healthcare setting was the third most commonly marked place or situation. It didn't surprise me that businesses and outdoor places floated to the top, but that healthcare setting is such a professional setting. And as we looked into some of the accounts, I was like, oh, that totally makes sense. But I felt like that was something I didn't expect. And it feels like an opportunity to partner with healthcare providers in Salem to raise awareness that those experiences are happening. And it seems like those settings that are already personal and a vulnerable moment in a conversation, and to think about how the space and how the interaction and how I just wonder if there are opportunities as awareness is brought forward that those healthcare settings could make some adjustments. And I think they would want to. I hope they would want to, right? But that was something that I had not entirely expected.
Joaquin?
Hi, hello. Yes, can you hear me? I have to confirm every time.
Yes.
I wanted to jump in here for two reasons. The first is, as I said earlier, I'm on my phone, and apparently Zoom eats up my battery, and I may depart prematurely, which is not my intention, but here we are. And second, to thank obviously the student presenters here, and really just express how grateful I am to the professor and her students this year who tackled really an ambitious project, right? I mean, this survey was not totally reconceived, but underwent a major rehaul this year after a few years of doing it. And the aspirations were high. We wanted to have our data to be more actionable for ourselves, and our recommendations to state leaders and decision makers and stakeholders. And we wanted to really reach out to more people than we had before. And I was impressed with the professor and her work, and the professionalism and dedication that a number of her students showed over the course of the weeks that we were conceiving of and developing this survey. And I'm also grateful to our fellow commissioners on the to be renamed Campaign Awareness Task Force, and those of us here generally. And I'm grateful to Linnell. So grateful to Linnell and the work that she does. And I just wanted to say that before my phone took me away from this meeting, but truly grateful and looking forward to next year, where we continue the work we started this year, and make our ability to engage with and act on behalf of folks in Salem even more impactful. So thank you very much to everybody, and hopefully I get to stick around, but if not, just wanted to say that.
This is Kelsey. Thanks, Joaquin. Hopefully your phone stays alive. Yeah, this was very helpful. I think I got a lot more from the data and like the breakdown. And I'm excited to kind of dive a little bit deeper into the executive summary. So thank you so much for the work that you all did on this. It's truly going to make a big difference in the city and how we as a commission move forward. Is there any other questions, comments, or celebrations about this? Casey?
I just want to say one more thing, and that's that it was really encouraging being able to go out into the community and show how this information and how this data collection makes a difference in the lives, and how because of these surveys, things have been changed. So I just want to leave that note that it's super encouraging. I wasn't aware of HRC prior to this project. But just understanding, you can go out and you can collect data, but understanding that this data has a purpose just is really heartfelt to me. So I really just want to thank you guys for the work that you do in trying to make Salem a more welcoming community for.
Thank you. This is Kelsey. Last call for anything about the belonging survey. Marianne.
This is Marianne. I just want to give you a heads up. The executive summary has gone out, but the students have put together a beautiful report. The slides from today, we've collected the open-ended quotes. Tim and Kamahoy shared some of those, but there are hundreds. And, they had gone through and sorted them by theme and kind of selected some quotes that represented a lot of what people brought forward. But you have the opportunity, you could spend hours digging through this data, and we are happy to share it with you. So Gretchen, I will get you materials and follow up. I also want to just let you know, I am happy that the term is over. The students as of today are going to pat themselves on the back, and I'll submit the grades and they're going to be like, yes. And some of them are graduating this weekend. But I am happy to engage in follow up. And if you say, hey, had some questions, can you slice the data this way? Or can we look at it by a younger age demographic? Or, you showed this in the slide, or I see this in the report. I mean, we can do 1,000 things with this data. And if 6 months from now, a question comes into the commission, you could say, Gretchen could just email me and say, Marianne, can you dig in this data and see if there's something that can help guide? I am so happy to do that. So please feel free to reach out. We'll send you follow-up materials, but a survey like this, because we can go back in and slice it that way and analyze it that way, filter it like this, or ask me, because I'm happy to do that. Or if you're doing a training, or you've got, you're writing a monthly column and you wanted to include a finding from it and you want to run it by me, there's so many ways that you can use this. And I want to make it easy so that you can share the findings. And if that means you want my eyes on something, or help with something, or show up to a meeting with something, I'm willing. So, and students, I know some of you, even if you've graduated, might be willing. So you can let me know how you feel, but feel free, HRC, to reach back out to us if we can be helpful.
Thank you. Gretchen, and then Kathy.
You bet. And Kathy, if this is what you were about to talk, this is Gretchen. Kathy, if you were about to talk about the next steps, I'm happy to defer to you. I just thought it might help. Okay. Oh, very good. I know that as we were jumping into the beginning of the survey, we were also talking about the ending of the survey, which was to gather thoughts and recommendations and impressions that you all as commissioners may have as you digest this data and begin to think about an update to our mayor and our city council. As you provide an update in general about the work of the commission and also bring the results and the data from the survey. And there had been an idea that if any students or the professor would be open to being a part of that, Marianne, that might be another way that we could stay in touch should anyone want to do that. The more I thought about the schedule and the time that I think you all would want to digest the material, and as I look at the schedule in July, I started to think about August 14th as potentially being a date we could think about that would make a good date for the council meeting, because that would give you all another meeting at the Human Rights Commission to clarify your thoughts and potential recommendations, give you time to build that. So just wanted to offer those thoughts in.
Kathy?
Thank you. I just wanted to follow up on what Marianne was saying. Once I have a chance to look a little bit more closely at the data, I'm sure I will have more questions than I did tonight. And one thing I also wanted to say for the students is this is the third, I think, survey that I have been able to go through with the commission and see the results of. And one thing I really appreciate is the recommendations from the students about things that the HRC can do differently in the city in general. So I just wanted to say thank you. I think you had some really good recommendations, and I do look forward to looking more closely at the data. So that was all. Thanks.
Lieutenant Gill.
Yeah, just wanted to share my thanks, and I would love to see a bigger data set on the interaction specifically with our unhoused. And also really encourage students to have direct feedback with me personally about a more in-depth way that we can bridge some relationships. Yeah, super interested about that. I love data, so just wanted to share my thanks, and very much appreciate the students on this, and you as well, Professor. Thank you.
Sounds like, oh, this is Kelsey. Sounds like we have a bunch of data nerds, which is fantastic. So I know a lot of us are looking forward to, oh, we just lost Joaquin. I was hoping we would get to the task force, dang it. So I know a lot of us are looking forward to doing some deep diving into all of that good data. So again, it's been said a million times, but thank you all so much. This was incredibly eye-opening and surprising in some ways, and it will really help us move forward. So thank you. Last call for anything about the belonging survey. Marianne.
I just also want to thank you, because I love being able to bring a real life project into the classroom. And I taught a class early on where students did a project like this just in like role playing, and they were so brilliant and they worked so hard. And then the work just like went in a drawer because it wasn't real. And to have a partnership with an organization like HRC, it takes time. Joaquin and Alejandra working on that translation, they were so dedicated, and you all showing up to a meeting early in the term and late in the term, Linnell and Gretchen, and every one of you has contributed. And I hope it's valuable to you, but I want you to hear from me that it is exceptionally valuable to the class, to the students, to me, and I know it takes time and effort. So I just really appreciate the partnership, and I appreciate all the good you are doing in our community. So thank you.
Linnell?
It seems redundant, but I just feel like the thank yous are so merited. To be able to participate, I can't talk, to be able to participate in something where the data is reviewed, the recommendations are made and considered, and actually result in some systems change was like heart bursting and teary and incredible. And the fact that you guys are still coming back each year to do it and to do better, and to make other recommendations for consideration, and to be in a city and a group that is invested in like looking at that stuff and trying to make positive changes instead of like, oh, we got a report, you know, how great. But it's an actionable survey, and that's what I felt extra good going out this year and last year, because we were able to say that the city has actually changed something because of the input that you guys gave us, and then the students reviewed it and the city reviewed it and the task force reviewed it, not in that order, and systems change happened. And being able to tell people that had some people in the field just like, well, okay, I guess I'll do it if it actually might change things. So thank you all so much.
Thanks, Linnell. Hope?
And thanks for coming out with me sometimes. That was awesome always.
Hope?
Yeah, I just wanted to say absolutely amazing job. This was so cool to see and to just learn from, and I'm definitely going to get into all the data because it looks super interesting, but just fantastic job. Thank you so much for all the work that you guys do.
This is Kelsey. I like how thankful we all are. It's wonderful. Makes me happy. Okay, last call. Okay. Thanks to the students and Marianne, appreciate it. Understand if you all have to go. We'll go ahead and move on to our task force and project updates. Since Joaquin had to leave, is there anyone from the awareness task force? Kathy, Gretchen? Okay, perfect. Kathy.
I can do a little bit of an update. If I remember correctly, it was just Joaquin and I and Gretchen at the last meeting. And we talked about the column, the monthly column idea, and two of the attachments to the meeting materials for this meeting were draft column ideas. And Gretchen, I'm not sure if we were going to ask for feedback or have a discussion or what we were going to do about that, but and that's really, I mean, I'm looking at the notes I took. I didn't take very many notes, and we have not yet changed the name of the task force, but I think maybe at our next meeting, if we have a quorum, that might be one of the outcomes, is to change it to the Community Awareness Task Force. But Gretchen, I don't know if you have anything that you remember that I have forgotten.
Yeah, this is Gretchen. Thank you, Kathy. No, that was perfect. Although I think the name idea is community engagement, if I'm not mistaken. So the task force wants to talk about that with their full membership and then possibly bring to you all a suggestion for a change to the name of that group. And yeah, tonight with those draft columns, Kathy drafted one and Joaquin drafted one, and that's a follow-up from our last meeting. You might remember there was a lot of engagement around doing more community education. And so those are two drafts that come out of that. And we're interested in your feedback and your thoughts about those drafts. You can share that this evening, or you're always welcome to communicate with me, and then I can bring that feedback into the task force. Also stay tuned. Another idea was to build out basically a sign-up sheet. We were going to take all of the ideas. You might remember that you received a list of potential column ideas or topic ideas for education. And we were going to go ahead and put slots for people to sign up by the topics, just in case it generated someone to say, yeah, that's something I'd like to write about or communicate about. And then we can also leave space in case there's other things that are particularly motivating or inspiring for you that aren't on the list. So please stay tuned for a sign-up sheet along those lines to help generate some potential writers.
This is Kelsey. That sounds fantastic. So did anyone have a chance to read the drafts and have comments or questions? And if not, please read those and peruse those soon-ish so that we can get those submitted and published. Okay, perfect. Well, I'm looking forward to writing some articles, and hopefully you all are too. Okay, great. All right, so anything else for the awareness, soon to be community engagement commission or task force? Okay, fantastic. All right, so now moving on to the LGBTQIA plus intersectional rights task force. We had a relatively short meeting this last time. We are close to finalizing our resource list for LGBTQIA plus like community groups or service groups or a variety of resources. So hopefully next meeting we'll be able to finalize that and then get that on the website. And we just talked more about how we can continue to engage in the organizations that are out there right now, including like mentorship and Capital Pride. So looking forward to that. I think that was about it, right, Gretchen?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Great. Okay, so moving into the equity ask and staff updates. Gretchen.
Yes, thank you. I first wanted to let the group know that I received a call from a former organizer and participant of a pre-COVID event called Salem Speaks Up. I don't know, has anyone here remember or heard of the event Salem Speaks Up from past years?
This is Kathy. I think I've heard of it, but I'm not sure exactly what it was.
Copy that. And Jackie, thank you. I saw your thumbs up there too. Interested in if and whether the commission would be interested in having a role to help get it organized to bring the event back. In summary, it coincided with the national, or I think International Human Rights Day, which is annually on December 10th. And in the past, it's been an in-person community kind of all come event where community members, there's an open mic, Salem Speaks Up. So if people want to speak to specific situations and concerns, there's a portion for that. And sometimes also there's been organizations or groups that also take the mic to speak about human rights topics, either that they work on or that they would like to have more addressed. We had a bit of a conversation. We talked about some of the positives and also some of the challenges with that model from how I remember in the past. But I wanted to let you know that I received that question, and I wanted to either invite any initial thoughts tonight or invite folks to talk with me outside of the meeting, or I could sort of bring back a more complete concept for the commission's consideration would be another possible next step to see if that's something that we would want to get involved in more of a coordinator role. In the past, we used to always be present as listeners because people would share concerns. And so we were in a good position to hear those concerns and then follow up with individuals to try to provide support and potentially help navigate people towards remedies. So we didn't used to be in a convener role of the event. So that would change our role and function. So something to think about. I'll pause there and see if there's any comment before I move into other parts.
This is Kelsey, and I think that sounds like a really great overlap in what we do, and a really great opportunity to, because one of our goals was to get some more input from community members, and so like, wow, that's great. So my vote is yeah. So hopefully we'll be able to do that.
Great. Any other comments before I? Okay, let's see. I also wanted to let you know that we had talked last time about some work at the Historic Landmarks Commission. And you might remember they've been doing some discussion about a sign and the potential changing, updating, replacing of language on the sign and a potential partnership with Human Rights Commission. The update is that the Historic Landmarks Commission directed their staff to come back with more information about what it might cost to replicate the existing style and maintenance. And they want to take action and form a committee to craft and review new language that would go into the sign, but are still figuring out what sort of avenue. So update the language, which is where the questions came in, but try to use the historic physical style of the sign is how I understand that to be. So there will be more information forthcoming and a potential invitation to members of the Human Rights Commission should you be interested in helping on the content of the sign, should you like that. Let's see. Also, I wanted to mention for those of you who've signed up, World Beat is just a little more than a week away. And so stay tuned for more information about our table. And we did lose one person who had been able to volunteer on Sunday and who now can't. And that puts us to 2 people on the Sunday shift. So if anyone is thinking about volunteering but hasn't signed up yet, don't hesitate to let me know. There's always plenty of room for you. And then speaking of volunteering, I wanted to mention Viva Salem is an event coming up on September 23rd, and a table would be available for us should anyone want to table at that event. So just, I'll put out there September 23rd in case anyone's looking ahead on their calendar and would like to help out at a table at an event like that. I think that's it for this evening. I don't know if there's any questions for me on anything.
Gretchen, this is Kathy. Just a quick question about the World Beat. So do you have more people on Saturday? Would it be helpful to have someone switch over? Because I know I'm flexible either way.
Thank you. That's right.
Or you can let me know.
Yeah, I think I've got it right here. I now do. I now have 4 people on Saturday and 2 on Sunday. It was 4 and 3, but then I had one drop today. So now it's 4 and 2. So if you can switch to Sunday, that would even us out.
Yeah, no problem.
Sweet. Thank you, Kathy. And I can send you that time again.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind just sending me an email with the time and that. Okay.
I'd be happy to. Thank you.
This is Kelsey. Great, fantastic. I appreciate folks volunteering to hang out. Should be a fun time. I'll be there on Saturday, so swing by. Okay. So now I'm gonna pass it on to, sorry, Gretchen, was that everything? I apologize.
Yes, thank you. That's good.
Awesome. All right, Hope, let's talk about the community calendar.
All right, thank you. This is Hope. So we have the same 3 events as last month's meeting, but I know some of you weren't here last month, so I'm gonna go over them. June 19th, the Salem Keizer NAACP is hosting their annual Freedom Fund banquet, and that starts at 7 p.m. Their theme is This Little Light of Mine, Shining Beyond the Darkness, celebrating Black excellence and raising funds for scholarships for students of color. And it's strategically scheduled on the evening of Juneteenth, and they will collectively reflect and solidify efforts to ensure each child's light burns brighter and their dreams and aspirations are fulfilled. The location is in the attached document, and as well as the ticket link. Yeah. And then on August 26th, Pride in the Park will be held. They're hosting live entertainment, food, and vendors. The night before, Salem Capital Pride will also be hosting a queer movie night in the park. September 23rd, Viva Salem, Todos Unidos will be held at Riverfront Park from 12 to 6 p.m. There's going to be a celebration of Hispanic culture and vendors from all over Salem. And that's actually the event that Gretchen was talking about the possibility of having a booth there. So yeah, and that's what we have for coming up over the summer so far.
Kathy?
Thanks, Kelsey. I just want to mention there's also a Pride March and Downtown Pride event this Saturday. Outdoor, it's from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Last year, I think it was on State Street. I don't know if that's still the location, but somewhere downtown celebration as well. So
This is Hope. Thank you so much for adding that. That's fantastic.
Awesome. This is Kelsey. Sounds like we have some good events and it's going to be a good summer. Okay. So now HRC orientation, Gretchen.
Thank you, Kelsey. And if the group would permit, I think my vote would be to delay this one. We're missing a couple of our newer, more active members. And I guess my instinct is let's give it a bigger chunk of time with more of our folks here, if that's all right.
This is Kelsey. That sounds good, especially Hamadi is gone. So
yeah. And I think Hamadi wanted to contribute in too. So I'm feeling that if no one minds.
Sounds good. All right, member remarks and announcements.
this is Kathy. I just feel the need to fill space today. Not a big deal. I'm not going to be at the next full HRC meeting. I'll be out of the state, but I will look at the report that Marianne sends out, and Gretchen, I'll email you if I have any questions or follow-up that I would like to be considered for that follow-up. So
thank you.
Thanks.
This is Kelsey. Thanks, Kathy. Anyone else or anything else? Okay. Well, I think we're going to have a rainy weekend, so have fun. I don't know. All right, last call. All right. I hope everyone has a lovely rest of your night and a good rest of your week, and we'll see you next month.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye. Thank you all.